Snake River Adventure Dock in Lewiston, the Lewiston side of the river. Gonna go on that boat out there down to Hells Canyon. Pretty nice setup here. It's a marina. This is an Idaho State Park, Hells Gate State Park. Getting on the boat. This is the Snake River Adventures. The name of the boat is the Whiskey Bent.
Last name from you? Or are you with Thrasher?
We're Ed Wiles. 2.
There you go. Go ahead.
Thank you. And we're off.
One of those Hamilton jet pumps. We have a Ford 440 Raptor motor. They're a 6.2 liter V8 gas engine generating just over 400 horsepower apiece. So we have a little over 1,200 horse pushing us up the river today. And I know they're a Ford, but we should be able to. She's 3 years old right now. The other boat that's doing a half day with us, we'll see him throughout the day today. She's 5 years old. We just also left Lewiston, Idaho. We'll have Idaho to your left for our entire upriver trip. Directly to your right, we have Clarkston, Washington. We'll have Washington on the right hand side for about the next 30 miles, then we'll get into Oregon. I'll make sure to point that out to you guys once we get up there. And you can see a big building hiding in the trees on your left. That is the Jack O'Connor Center and Historical Museum. They have some artifacts in there, cool stories to tell you about this area. See what's going on up here, check out the dash, have any questions, you're more than welcome to come up, make sure I'm not taking a nap or something. These columns are 5 to 7 sided and they form at a 90 degree to the cooling surface. You'll see some that twist and turn, look like a fan, maybe a wagon wheel. They tell us that lava is flowing down a creek bottom. That's made of form in all different directions. This is also the best spot in all of Hells Canyon to find the very rare mineral we have here. If you look up towards the top of those columns, you can see a bunch of white material. You guys see that up there? That's bird poop. And looking at the hillside down below us, you see a big white paint mark. It says A25. That stands for Asotin, graduating class of 2025. Those Asotin kids aren't near as smart as the kids in Lewiston. I have to put that up there so they can remember what year it is.
Did you graduate from Lewiston High?
I did. And if anybody's building a new house or shop or something like that, I think some of these columns would make good door pillars. You might be able to convince Dawson to throw one on the bow for you. What do you think, kid? You feeling pretty tough today?
State on the right, Idaho on the left. We're headed towards Hells Canyon.
Just off the front left, you guys will find what looks like an old bridge pillar. That is actually an old irrigation pump stand. There used to be a 2-cylinder gas engine that sat on top of that with a 14-foot flywheel. They used to use that to irrigate the big bar back behind us. And you can raise and cut hay 2, maybe 3 times a year in the canyon, as long as you can keep the water on it. As you guys have probably noticed, we haven't seen any white water, little to no river current. That's because we've been in what's called the Lower Granite Dam Pool. This is all the water backed up from Lower Granite Dam, 34 miles below Lewiston. Straight in front of us is a place called 3 Mile Island. This marks the end of the Lower Granite Dam Pool and the start of the free-flowing river. This is the first little rapid we come to, if you even want to call it a rapid. They rate these rapids on this river on a scale from 1 to 5. Now, Class 5 rapids are considered impassable or too dangerous to navigate. It takes an expert or an idiot to run those. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. It's also not uncommon, even right down here by town, to find some of those Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep. If you guys see some that I don't, I might be sleeping, make sure you holler at me. If it's a safe spot to stop, we'll stop and take a look at them. If you're wondering what to look for to find some of these sheep, they are the same color as the dead grass on the hillside with a white butt. Once they realized they weren't going to sell any of those 10-acre lots, they built a beautiful spec home to show everybody else what they can have up here too. You can just start to see the rooftop of that right now. That house is actually 2 homes in one, split right down the middle inside by a waterfall. Well, they were pretty excited with what they had built here. Went back to their families in Oregon to tell them about it. Their families wanted to come see it, so they brought them in here a couple months later. They had the idea of spending a couple weeks hanging out in here. Well, when they showed up, they found every single window in that house entirely broken out. Well, they were furious, but they replaced them all anyway. Well, they were hanging out one night in the living room. They heard a big crash and commotion in the kitchen. They went running in there, and they were staring face to face with a Rocky Mountain Bighorn Sheep ram. In October, those rams are in breeding season, walking around fighting each other. They'd walk by those big picture windows and see their reflection. They had butted out every single window in that house 3 years in a row. Now when those families leave for the winter time, they put up black non-reflective screens over those windows to prevent the bighorns from seeing their reflection. Oh, this is a really big wintering area for these Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep. You guys might be able to find some if they're running around on the left-hand side. If you do see some, just know that it is too shallow for me to stop in here. I won't be able to find some on upriver somewhere today.
Land ho!
Alright, just off the front right, halfway up the bluff, Dawson's going to put a little reflection up there dancing around. You guys see all those stick figures? You see the ones up towards the top have what look like antennas? They are also red in color. Those writings have been stained with red ochre. They used to use all kinds of stuff to stain these writings. Things like animal and fish, blood and fat, along with bushes and berries. See his reflection dancing around?
Oh, okay.
If you look right down towards the bottom, you can see a four-legged critter looks similar to the Rocky Mountain Bighorn Sheep. Those are the ibex. We don't have any ibex in this area, but you can find some in certain places in Canada. The artifacts in these writings in this area have been carbon dated back to over 2,500 years ago. That predates the Nez Perce Indians. Nobody knows for certain who put these writings here, but it is believed it was a tribe from Canada. There's also been a lot of elders up here studying these writings, trying to figure out what they mean. Nobody's been able to find it out exactly, so usually when somebody asks me what they mean, I tell them it means casino that way.
It's like a big bird looking down on us up there. I guess that's
an osprey.
osprey. Yeah, he's like going, what's going on?
Which I used to argue with Bill about that. What's a Seahawk? What's an osprey?
Buffalo Eddy here is also the deepest water we're going to travel over today.
I could never get it.
Oh, right off this little rock point straight in front of us, on the edge of the current line, it is 120 feet deep. A lot of people want to know what the average depth of the river is up here, and I don't know, so I tell them it's from the top to the bottom. It changes so quickly up here, nobody's been able to figure out an average depth. If you look way up straight in front of us, see a little bit more whitewater coming around the rocky point. A couple more weeks we'll get our normal summer flows. Deepest spot in the river at that point is about 2.5 feet deep. This ridge behind us to your left is a lot lighter gray in color, and the ridge straight in front of us on the Washington side, same thing. This is all that limestone I was just telling you about. It looks quite a bit different than all the basalt we've been staring at. I'm going to idle around here for just a couple minutes. Now would be a good time to use the restroom, and if you don't want to take your chances in the hot seat, about 15, maybe 20 minutes we'll be to our lunch stop. There's some bathrooms up there that don't move on you. We'll trip down the canyon. It was 110 foot, Colonel Wright, captained by Sebastian Miller and his crew. They had orders to bring that ship from southern Idaho to its new owner on the coast. The only way to do that was by coming down this canyon. And they set off in the spring and had a good first few weeks. Then the canyon started narrowing up, the rapids getting much larger and rockier, and they began to crash the boat several times. At one time, knocking 10 foot of the bow off. They had to pull into the bank and repair it with driftwood before continuing on down the river. Once they finally made the trek down to Lewiston, there was a bunch of reporters waiting for them. One of those reporters asked that captain what it was like bringing that big ship down through this narrow canyon. That captain told the reporter it was like being shot out of a cannon through hell. It was published in the newspaper that way, and we've known it as Hells Canyon ever since. A lot of people also want to know where Hells Canyon starts. Well, that depends on who you ask. Some people will tell you in Lewiston, some say right here, some say 50 miles above us. But according to Idaho Power and USGS, the geological entrance is straight in front of us. These next two rocky ridges coming down to the river on either side is what they call the gates to hell.
And the deepest spot in Hells Canyon.
Oh, we got a local fishing guide here on the left, fishing for the giant white sturgeon we have up here.
You'll see. We'll be in. It'll be equal to the Grand Canyon, but we won't see the deepest part of it. Okay.
What's the regulation?
We're coming up with some What's the line?
Rapid up around the corner that you can't quite see yet. It's called the Wild Goose Rapid. And it's name from the old stern wheeler captains. This is the first rapid that no matter what they did, they could not get through. You get up in the back eddy on the left-hand side, filled up a big head of steam, cut out into the cross current going left to right. That cross current would grab their bows, spin them around, send them back down the river on a wild goose chase. To beat rapids like the goose, they went above them and anchored a steel rig in the rocks. They'd attach a cable and a barrel to that rig. When they get back up here, crew members would walk up the bank, throw that barrel and cable affair into the river, float it down to the big ship.
We had a dog delivery. The dog was delivered to this owner who lives up here.
Help each other take care of everything.
I think they charge extra if they have
In that
to
cabin up there. So it's a tour guide and it's a pet delivery service.
Once we get to the top of this rapid, if you guys look off the side of the boat to the bottom of the river, you will see a white paint mark going across the bottom. That's the border line.
It says entering Oregon, so this is Washington, Oregon, and Idaho on the west side. Entering Oregon.
You'll see some that have a collar on them. Fishing Game does what they call net gutting. They shoot a 6
Rocky Mountain Bighorn Sheep.
to capture these sheep.
Right there.
Fly them to the bar, do all kinds of studies, make sure they're healthy. They fit them with those radio collars that sends a satellite signal to Lewiston if they have not moved within 24 hours. Lets them know to come up here and check on them. See if they are sick, dead, or dying, if they were killed by a predator or a poacher.
Steady the damn truck. Don't turn,
They're just hanging out.
Yes, I do.
And does anybody think they know what the biggest predator to these sheep is? Nope. Nope. It's Dawson. It's actually the golden eagle. The golden eagle can pick the little guys up, fly them to higher elevations, and drop them.
Wow.
It can also dive up to 150 miles an hour, hitting the adults in the side and knocking them off the bluff they're standing on. The river coming in on the left is the legendary River of No Return. The Salmon River is a little over 400 miles long, starts and ends entirely within the state of Idaho. There are no dams or other restrictions on the salmon. That means it can get really high, it can also get really low. Today it's running about 19,000 cubic feet a second. I've seen it under 2,000. In 1998, the Salmon River crested 133,000. So it put the cut banks in the hillside next to us. There used to be 2 cabins sitting by the dead burn-up pine tree. Both of them got wiped out that year. Most of the sand on all the beaches we've been seeing is coming out of the Salmon River. All the sand coming out of the Snake River on your right gets stuck in one of the dams above us. The salmon gets the nickname Legendary River of No Return from the old paddle boats that used to come down that called a sweep. They would build 18 to 22 foot wooden supply rafts upstream of here, load them full of supplies, float them down the river, selling all the supplies to the area ranchers and miners along the way. Once they got down to here, they could not paddle back up. They'd pull into the beach over there next to us and completely dismantle those rafts, sell all the lumber to the area ranchers. None of those boats ever did return to where they were built. The Salmon River also starts at a place called Redfish Lake. It gets its name from the sockeye salmon that used to migrate up there to spawn. When those sockeye are spawning, their heads turn an emerald green, the rest of their bodies turn a bright red in color. The old timers tell us there used to be so many of them, that lake looked like a bloodbath. And Idaho Fish and Game tried to eradicate the run of sockeye salmon going up there to make it a trophy trout fishing lake. They were not entirely successful. We still have 200 to 300 of those fish going up there every year to spawn. From here on up, you guys might want to be a little extra careful if you're up moving around. Please hang on to something. We are losing most of our water. It's going to be a lot shallower. Turns are going to get a lot sharper and faster. So keep that in mind. This is where you might get a splash. Most of the water coming in the boat's probably going to be on the way downriver.
Up the snake.
Just to the right, next to the dead hackberry tree, you will see a stone foundation. That is the foundation of the old hotel that used to sit there. There used to be 2,500 people living and working in here at this mine. The hotel housed most of them. There was also a bar in here called Shorty's Bar. He was kind of a card shark and a thief. And the miners had readily available dynamite. They blew his bar up. He moved up into the Idaho country, started another one. And to your right, see some big stair-stepping stone foundations going up the hillside. That is the old gravity-fed stamp mill. The entire building actually used to be erect. And the final parts and pieces of equipment to get the last leg of the gravity-fed stamp mill up and going and 100% working order sank with the Imnaha downstream behind us. This rapid right here in front of us is probably the biggest we're going to be in today. It is called Imnaha Rapid. Once we get to the top, you'll see a little river coming in on the Oregon side. That is the Imnaha River.
Made it through. They did it sideways. And through the rapids.
The ride on the way down's quite a bit different than the ride on the way up. Dawson really likes it because I don't talk as much. Most of the stories I made up last night and this morning to tell you guys, I told you on the way up river. But I might be able to think of something else to tell you on the way down. It is going to get a little bit bumpier while these waves are breaking back against us instead of with us. So you'll hear this bow slap up here from time to time. Some of these rapids in this low water, I cannot slow down very much, because if I do, it would be way rougher when we hit the bottom of the river. This is also when you ladies get your Hells Canyon hairdos. Well, we're going to pick up the speed of the current until we hit the afternoon upstream wind. With those two combinations, we get a Hells Canyon hairdo, and we also lose a lot of hats. But don't worry, if you do lose your hat, we'll just sell you another one. Well, we're going to wait for this boat that should be coming around the corner.
So this is the sister boat, the same organization that left this morning. Oh, yeah! A little... So this is a White Horse Rapids on the way down. Gotta take it full speed. Grand finale, going through on the way back the last falls. Here we're gonna go full steam, full jet.